I know we only have £43 million in our transfer budget, but I'm willing to blow it all on potentially a generational talent who is already being described as world class. He's been on my shortlist for a couple of years now and is finally willing to talk and has a £40 million release clause. My thinking is that Jensen then switches from the middle of the pitch to the left hand side where he is already better than Prestiani. What will happen to Prestiani? I'm not quite sure. As of right now, there is no interest in him while he's injured. Yannick Behrens, though, luckily doesn't want an extortionate contract, and with other interests, I don't want to mess him around too much, so I just lowered the yearly wage rise, which he accepted. I don't know why he wouldn't want to join either. We are one of the league's feel-good stories of the season. It was also the first season that one of our players won the Next Gen award, with both of our Danish wonderkids making the top 3 and Jensen winning the award. Great news, Yannick Behrens joins the club and we have just signed the best player under 20 years of age in the world. With this going through, it's important that I also keep on top of asking for improve the training and youth facilities every single season, as well as the youth recruitment network. As slowly, this is now up to 3.5 stars for training facilities. Take the wins when you can. The board are set to spend nearly £4 million on a new training complex, but rejected the youth facilities and the youth recruitment. A couple of weeks later though, we receive a big offer for FA and I have planned a replacement, so I'm going to accept. The replacement is this man, Masarika from FC Nordsjælland, who is however wanted by many bigger clubs, which could be a problem. A member of the very famous FC Nordsjælland Youth Academy, but a release clause of just £4.6 million, an absolute bargain if we can get him. So with the contract, he obviously prefers to move to other clubs, so I'm thinking we just offer way over what he actually wants and pray he chooses us or the other clubs just don't bid for him. My scouts also found an Iranian goalkeeper who looks incredible for a very cheap cost, so again, let's bring him in. But we couldn't even get to the bit about how much wages he wants before he just rejected us. Manchester United came in for Rafael Luiz, £34 million up front with £77 million in total, but I'm rejecting that. And good news is Masarika has no other offers and accepted our contract to join Mallorca, and I am buzzing with this FA replacement, because the rest of my money has allowed me to start filling out the under-19 squad with potential talents that my scouts have found. Some might never be great players, but it's important that we bring them in to increase our future profits. Another wild bid came in for Medina from Udinese, an offer of over £24 million, but again, we don't have any replacements ready, so I'm not accepting a bid for the 20-year-old goalkeeper. First game of the season is here, and I feel like it's been Sevilla the first game and for the last few seasons. But anyway, here we go. As mentioned, I want to try Jensen on the left. Behrens comes into the number 10 role, and Masarika starts in the backline too. And to say it started perfectly would be an understatement, as Jensen sets up Behrens within 20 minutes. Nelson Viper made it 2 with the best penalty you'll probably ever see, and it was 3-0 when Takata shot a fluky first-time effort into the corner. 6 days later, we played Barcelona at the Nou Camp, lost 3-1. But again, Bilbao in the following match, and it was once again 3-0 win, and Behrens was back on the score sheet. Against Tenerife, I rotated the team a lot more, and one of the fringe players that really made a statement was the defensive midfielder Stan Bazzi, who scored 2 goals in a 4-1 win away from home. Speaking of statements though, when I put my first team back in a few days later, they got a 7-1 win. Transfer window closed, and some deals will just be completed in the future, like this Chilean striker from Colo Colo who joins us in December when he turns 18. Just like this left back from Zimbabwe who joins next year. We loaned out a few players for the first team football and signed a few more players to fill out our youth teams with a couple of bargains here and there. We continued our good start in the league, defeating Girona 3-1. And that's when our adventure in the Champions League began, and a trip to Rome to face Lazio. They very early put themselves 1-0 up, but we got one back through Junior Krupi. However, in the second half, they held possession very well, and Cataldi scored a beauty to win the game 2-1 for the Italian. We were straight back to winning ways though, as we faced Rayo Vallecano, defeating them 5-0 with Behrens getting man of the match. Ending the month with another 2 wins in both the league and the Champions League, which now puts us joint top with Barcelona and Real Madrid. And that's exactly when we decided to enter a bad run of form, starting with a loss to Real Sociedad, and then losing at home to Bayern Munich in the Champions League. We didn't even win a game in October until the 28th of the month when we travelled to Villarreal and beat them 2-0 after another Behrens man of the match. Drawing 2 games we should be winning before our trip to Leipzig, which was a complete 180 on our performances. We control possession, defensively holding them to 0 shots on target while getting 6 ourselves and scoring 3 of them. Krupi got man of the match for his 2 goals, but again, Yannick Behrens was outstanding. Masarika scoring the only goal of the game next against Real Betis, but I was more worried about the injury to Yannick Behrens. Thankfully, it wasn't too bad and he played in the next match. A match we were dreadful in, losing 3-0 at home to Celtic. And our inconsistent form has seen us drop 7 points behind Real Madrid, still in 3rd place. Back to winning ways against Celta Vigo though, when Rafael Luis scored a goal from long range, and with just 6 minutes on the clock, Junior Krupi was making it 2-0. Celta Vigo did have some fight in the match though and pulled themselves back to 2-1, but that's when last season's top scorer Nelson Viper stepped up and scored 2 goals either side at half-time to secure the win and 3 points for Mallorca. But then we dropped 2 points as Las Palmas scored in the 95th minute to prevent us from winning the game. In the Champions League, we played Copenhagen just before a match against Real Madrid, and just like last season, our Danish players really stole the headlines, scoring against the former club's rivals, with both Parup and Jensen scoring to make it 2-0. Copenhagen fired back, scoring 2 goals of their own, all within the first 20 minutes of the match. But the winner was scored once again by Frank Jensen, who scored his 2nd goal on the 26th minute. So Real Madrid came to Mallorca, and we weren't letting them have an easy day, scoring the only goal of the game in a 1-0 win. We beat Levante just before the new year, and that continued our unbeaten run in the league since Real Sociedad all the way back at the start of October. Still sat in 3rd place in the league though, and still 6 points behind Real Madrid. However, we do have the league's 2 top scorers, and Nelson Viper and Junior Krupi, who's got 14. We started off in January signing 2 Romanian talents for a combined total of just £7.8 million. And then we lost the first league game of the year, typically at home to Barcelona 3-1. But we did have some serious injuries to a lot of our first team players, and went from losing no matches in the league for months to 2 on the bounce. We did, however, put in an incredible performance in the Champions League though, when we went to the Etihad and beat them 2-1, with both goals being scored by man of the match, Yannick Behrens, securing our place in the playoff round with a final win in the league phase against Napoli. It was still a rough month though, with a draw to Bilbao, meaning we went through January without a league win because of those earlier injuries. But we have got to the quarter-final of the Copa del Rey and drew against Inter Milan in the Champions League. And we breezed through to the semi-final of the Cup with a 1-0 win. In the Champions League though, we travelled away to Inter Milan first, and unfortunately we fell behind quite early in the game. Just after the half-time break though, we conceded another, with Inter Milan scoring through David Fratese. We still fought back and got ourselves a bit of a chance going into the second leg when Nelson Viper scored a consolation goal. But we couldn't do anything in the home leg. That finished 0-0 and we are out of the Champions League. Our league form did improve however, and new players such as Neil Sal came into the lineup, taking a chance and scoring some goals. Although we drew a game to Girona, we won a couple of more, and we have Real Madrid to face next month in the Copa del Rey semi-final to look forward to, and yet we're still only 3 points off of 3rd place despite our bad run of form. The Copa del Rey was an extremely tight match, but we snatched the lead on the stroke of half-time. However, with a bad bit of defending and players like Vinicius Jr. and Endrick on the field, Real Madrid equalised. But in the 82nd minute, an unlikely hero gave us a first leg advantage, and Kawasaki scored the winner. And we well and truly carried this form forward in La Liga too, winning every single game, including against 3rd place Sociedad, and reclaiming that position in the league table. But it's second leg time and a chance to reach our first cup final since becoming Mallorca manager. And even though we were already 1 goal ahead, we got the only goal of the game, scored by Frank Jensen in the 39th minute. We take ourselves into the cup final, where of course we will be facing the other powerhouse in the league, Barcelona, just 2 games time. Form never stopped though, and we continued to win the game in between the 2 cup games, 3-1 against Real Betis, fielding a very good team to face the Catalan Giants. The final stayed 0-0 until the 30th minute, when Amar Dedic found some space down the right hand side, had the ball played back to him, and nobody closed him down and somehow squeezed the ball past Medina. We stayed in the game though, and Nelson Viper put home a penalty in the 60th minute before a throw was worked through the middle of the pitch, sprayed out to the left hand side where Prestiani had some space and smashed it in to make it 2-1. I'm glad I didn't sell him now. We held on, and Mallorca are the Copa del Rey champions, the first time in 26 years since their 2003 victory. But I'm hoping as we raise the trophy aloft, this won't be the last time we hold this trophy, and this is just the beginning of the legacy at this club. Not too much time to celebrate though, because 5 days later we host Atletico Madrid. And despite their recent decline as of late, it's still a tricky fixture, which we won 3-2. A 2-2 against Valencia followed, but I'm not too mad. We've won the home games against Tenerife and Celta Vigo and are undefeated unbeaten run goes all the way back to February against Inter Milan, and even to the start of the year to Sevilla if you go just by La Liga. And that cements our position as the third best team in the league. There was only one last game that could have ended our unbeaten run before the end of the season, away to the newly crowned champions Real Madrid. So you might say we have caught them at the perfect time, and we completely dominated the game, putting ourselves 3-0 up by the 69th minute when Prestiani scored, and they were left with just a consolation goal in injury time. We did draw to Las Palmas thanks to another late goal from them, but Levante 5-1 on the final day sees us comfortably into third place, only 5 points behind Barcelona in second. Can we close the gap next season? Well, I guess if we keep this man across the summer, then maybe we stand a very good chance. Honestly, what a player. He's absolutely transformed us this season. I think has took us to that next level that we could potentially start fighting for titles. Yannick Behrens, I know his £40 million is a lot of money in a youth to gold. Usually you're trying to pick up these players for less than 10 million. But I've been tracking this guy for ages, and I think he is definitely worth it. Thankfully, he chose to come to us, and I mean, look at his attributes. Absolutely phenomenal. He's 20 years of age. Hopefully we can keep him for the long run, and he can take us all the way to the Champions League. Let's have a look at the rest of the development dive, though. If we started by ability, Frank Jensen apparently is the second best player in our side now. And again, I'm not going to argue against that. I'm trying to train into the likes to beat the offside trap. I think from that left-hand side, that could be really good. He lacks the initial acceleration, but everything else he definitely has. And we can see it. Everything is starting to rise up. Is picking up a few different injuries. I noticed that across the season, like this is just 2028, 29 there. Picked up quite a few different ones in there. I'm hoping it doesn't continue anyway. You don't seem to be missing too many games. Power Up, the other Danish player, absolutely exceptional. Our best centre-back now has come into the side. I don't know why we keep playing Copenhagen and both of these guys keep scoring, but both of them obviously play for Copenhagen's rivals, so it's interesting that just keeps happening. Junior Creepy, once again, fantastic season. I think he played quite a lot of the games up front as well this season. A lot of the time it was Shadow Striker, but there was a period of time when Nelson Viper wasn't necessarily scoring, and he came into the lineup and got 26 goals and 10 assists. That's phenomenal stuff. Rafael Luiz, I don't know whether it's time to maybe look to see how much we can get for Rafael Luiz. £97 million is what he's worth. If clubs start coming in for that, that's the perfect time for youth to go. 24, 25, when they're at their peak price, we can look to sell him because he's not going to get any better now, and we can start using the likes of Stan Bazzi, who's come into the lineup every now and then, 11 starts, 16 appearances off the bench, and I have been impressed by him. I'm not going to lie, the 20-year-old Argentinian would be even better if he got more game time, because he's 20 and he's got perfectionist personality. He just needs that game time. Could he be better than Rafael Luiz with that game time? Not quite sure. Outside of that, Nelson Viper, yes, it could be time once we find a striker. Every single season I've been saying that. I just can't find anybody that's as good. Masarika that we brought in at centre-back, he's come into the lineup. He looks phenomenal. Like, really good development now on the 19-year-old. The left-back, Cesar Torres, is he unhappy because he wants a new contract? Probably. Wants a new contract. I'm not surprised. He's only on 13k a week. But look how good his mentals and his physical attributes are. Phenomenal stuff. Really good. And you notice quite a lot of the highlights, we played down that left-hand side. He's involved a lot of the time. So, absolutely buzzing with him. Morgala is solid. Like, both times, I don't want to sell him because I'm using him every other game in two different positions. He is wanted by Udinese. For some reason, just have a lot of money. But I have no intentions of selling him, I don't think. So, yeah. I skipped over Prestiani. I was looking to sell him at the end of the season. I don't know whether I've changed my mind yet. I don't have anybody. Neil Sal's okay. I don't have anybody who can fill that Prestiani role, who can just come in and just play amazing despite not looking as good as what possibly he should. Lucien Toma, I think he's doing okay. Like, he's played quite a lot. Fairly professional personality. Good La Liga player. 20. We've got a good bunch of Romanians now because, again, I always scout Romania. They are very cheap players. He's had a better season this year than what he did last season. And his development, certainly, in the mental attributes is exactly where I want to see. And he has very good pace and agility, which for centre midfielders, I actually think is quite an underrated couple of attributes there. Because Takata doesn't have that. And I notice that a lot when I'm watching the game highlights, that Takata potentially sometimes loses the ball, whereas Lucien Toma is in the key, in the middle of the park, gets the ball and spreads it out wide. But Takata's better on the ball in regards to passing and vision. There's a catch-22. I need amalgamation of both of them, really. Kawasaki, very solid down that right-hand side when he plays. I mean, he still plays 39 starts, to be fair. And Medina, he's getting better and better. I'm not saying he's going to be the best goalie in the world. I don't think he will be, but we still yet to find anybody, any goalies who's going to come in and be the goalie to take his position right now. And I don't see anybody coming in to do that. So Okachukwu unfortunately didn't play as much this season, and maybe that suffered, but he's still looking quite good. Dimitri, who came in, has played very well. I'm being quite fond of him, but the rest of the players haven't really played that much this season, and I could look to offload. In the development center, though, we've got a couple of players. Nicholas Jimenez, joined us halfway through the season. His development already is looking quite good, and if you take a look at how he's been playing, 6 appearances in the under-29s, well, 6 starts and 6 goals. Yeah, he could be maybe somebody we look to in the future. There's a couple of really good players down here that I don't think ever are going to see the light of first-team football, and that does worry me slightly. But that is youth to gold. Like, you bring these players in and you just unfortunately offload them. Sometimes make a loss, sometimes making a huge profit. I mean, like this guy here, Delgado, he's worth £49 million. If somebody wants to bring him in now and offers me $50 million, I could be tempted. However, he's only 18, good, like, great potential. He's not playing. I mean, 34 under-19 appearances, 17 goals and 12 assists from centre mid. If we do sell Rafael Luiz, that's a big if. This is the guy that I think will step up and take that position. I think a season in the first team will do him wonders, and he could become one of the world's best midfielders. We'll have to wait and find out, I guess. Victor Ross hasn't been quite as convincing. I tried to loan him out. 12 goals in 34 appearances and 11 off the bench. 11 assists, sorry, for the under-19s. I was tempted to bring him into the first team this season, but I could not find any clubs to loan him, and I don't know why that is. It worries me when that happens. Don't know whether it's like a fault in the game or something like that. They're saying that Drajan is ready for the first team. They're not wrong, to be honest. As a centre attacking midfielder, we're just overloaded in that position right now. But yeah, we've got so many players who have been out on loan as well. So like Benz Ferenczi, and I mean, there's loads of them. If you go by average rating, none of them have actually put in very good performances. That's slightly worrying, isn't it? But still, I think it's been good. And I've managed to get Sakamoto out, and he's made 41 appearances. So he's finally actually getting first-team football. And looks like it's been helping. That's really good. Maybe a couple of more loan deals for him. He could be a better goalkeeper than the one that we got. Ferenczi is the Hungarian 19-year-old 6'6" centre-back. I think another season out on loan, maybe in La Liga, would really help him. And then I could look to bed him into the first team lineup. But right now, I don't think he's quite ready. The rest of the players, though, I mean, there's some that I might look to offload. Miguel Pons, I'll give him so many chances. Once again, he's gone out on loan and hasn't scored a single bloody goal. So, I don't know. But I guess we'll have to see what I do across the summer.